here's another League of Legends post-game commentary coming your way, this time with Morgana support. And I'll explain things in detail in a second, but you can see my team right here. Pretty good group if I say so myself. And that is a somewhat nerfed Skarner, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, as for the matchups, we ironically are all in place without me doing anything. Skarner in the jungle against Fiddlesticks, Annie mid against Ari, Garen top against Scion, I forgot the guy's name for a moment there, and I'm Morgana bot, partnered with Jinx against Karma and Quinn. So this is a ranked game,
without mercy.
And the disclaimer that I'll put out is I played with a few of the people on the enemy team in the game before this, and the Quinn is abysmal. Definitely one of the worst players I've seen, and you'll see what I mean when we actually do start. I don't even want to call it like trading blows, it's more of a... well, you'll see the beating that's issued. Anyway, I am standing guard on the Skarner point because I don't want to give it to Karma too easily. Now, I don't exactly know where their jungler is starting from this, it's just I want to kind of hassle Karma for any type of advantage she's trying to earn. So sadly, since I don't know where her team is, you can see my team isn't actually close by. There's no way to realistically contest this. Instead, I'm just hoping to drop the Tormented Soil onto her, so I can get my 30 gold to offset the 15 she'll get from the point, and get my advantage that way. It would have been nice had Jinx come up, because then we could have contested it, and any damage I dealt to Karma would have in turn gave me bonus gold, and Jinx and I both would have gotten 15 from capping the point. But solo environment just comes with the playing field. Oh right, I get 15 gold, so instead of 30, it's 10 once I get the Frostfang. So, one thing I have to explain here before I actually explain how Morgana works is that Morgana is probably my #1 support, and Karma would be my #2. Now, if you're wondering what the significance of this is, I know Karma well enough to make this a really miserable matchup for her. And you'll see how bad things get as we progress, but like I said, the Quinn is abysmal. She's packing Barrier for her summer spell, if you didn't see. We tried to tell her this was a bad idea in the game before this when she got the crap kicked out of her. She refused to listen, so she's going to get the crap kicked out of her a second time. And I was kind of tempted to lull king the player, or just use any sort of look-up site to see if she ever did learn. What she's doing is not a bright idea, but I have my doubts. To make things worse, Quinn is all about the early advantage on Jinx, because as Jinx goes into hyper carry mode, it just gets really ugly really fast. Anyway, let me explain how Morgana works. Your passive is a form of spell vamp. Whenever you damage the enemy with spells, you get healed. Now, the way spell vamp works is that it's really nice for single burst type spells. And anything that's damage over time, multiple hit, AoE, anything like that, the effect is significantly marginalized. So if you're wondering what the importance of this is, what am I getting at? The only way you actually get a good return off of your passive is through your Q. Everything else, it's a third at best. And as a result, just don't bank on that for healing. It's just gonna be nice to give you a few extra hit points here and there, it's just nothing reliable. Your Q is Dark Binding, one of the longer-lasting CC spells in the game. It's a slow-moving linear skill shot with a somewhat generous hitbox, and it starts on at a 2-second root, I believe. I don't know if it's a root or a snare, but you can defend yourself, it's not a stun. And as you rank up the move, it goes all the way up to 3 seconds. So the way this little combo can work is I lead off with Dark Binding, or I follow up with it on the Flame Choppers. The key thing is, once one of us lands one, the other one is guaranteed, and from there it's pretty much a secured kill. So, moving onwards, your W is Tormented Soil. It's a damage over time type thing. The enemy takes damage for standing in it. I constantly use it here and there to just cash out these stacks on my Spell Thief. And explain things a bit, I believe I actually had the most gold at the end of the game just because I'm going to have that Frostfang for the entirety of the game, and the passive gold that generates as well as what you get from harassing here and there adds up, especially over the course of a 30-minute game. So moving onward, your E is Black Shield. It's a magic-only spell shield. It does nothing for physical damage, so Quinn's spells have full effect. The catch to it is, why it has that restriction, is that it will negate any form of CC. So right here I was kind of hoping Jinx, we have them on the ropes, they have no minions, we can get them. She didn't follow up, but we'll get them back. It's just one of those moments where we were out of sync, and something that will be rectified. The key thing that you should notice there is that Karma burnt her flash, which means opportunity for us. I didn't use any summoner spells when I died. So expect there to be blood in a moment. But going back to the Black Shield, it blocks any form of CC and disable. So for Quinn, this will disable her knockback, it'll disable her blind, and she has no way to actually break the shield. Karma, on the other hand, does, and Scar's kind of wasting his time there, but not a big deal. So Karma can pop that for Quinn, and the other drawback is that it can cancel out the slow from the Karma Q as well as the root from her W. Now as for right here, this would normally be an opportunity to get a lot of damage down. Bad part is we're not within the time limit for the damage reduction to fall off just yet, and Skarner doesn't do a lot early, to be perfectly honest. And the other reason why I wanted Morgana this game, other than just it's my #1 support, is because there's a Fiddlesticks on the field, so I definitely get to make him miserable as the game progresses. You'll see how bad it gets at times. So I'm recalling right here to get a second Fairy Charm, that way I can cast a bit more. I believe Morgana's spells had their cost reduced since I last played her, but I'm not totally sure. But the key thing is, the mana regen that I get will be much more influential. Like right now I believe I have double regen due to the 2 Fairy Charms as well as the Frost Fang.
I'll have my revenge.
I'm trying to read what I said there, but I'm not totally sure. Yeah, it's just, wait, I can't even read what he's saying. Oh well.
Without mercy.
Anyway, right here, I don't know if this was warded or if that was just a lucky guess, but she did some damage, which isn't really a big deal. Because right there I get the healing from my passive, and we just force her barrier, and it sucks to be hurt for a little while. So right here, we trade our AD carries. Unfortunately, I got the kill on Quinn, and this time I had to burn my summoners. So Jinx would normally be somewhat behind, but like I said, the Quinn doesn't know how to take advantage of things, plus her build sucks. So as we get more and more levels and just gold, it's going to be rougher and rougher for the Quinn.
Share in my torment.
As for right here, you can see that Karma doesn't exactly have the AP to clear that too easily, which is not really bad news for us. She denies herself, that means my gold generated through the Frost Fang will be much, much more effective. And normally on Morgana I do go for the Frost Queen. This game I don't actually get that far. She's one of the few supports that can actually really make use of that. It synergizes well with setting up her Q or just her ult, in case you're wondering. Zyra is the exact same, pretty much. Like right there, Jinx had nothing to fear because of the Black Shield being up. But instead we managed to force a trade with Quinn that goes in our favor. And you can see that the difference between Karma and myself is that I have more mana regen than she does. And the reason why this will come into play is just because I get healing from my passive. Ever so slight, yes, but it does add up. As for right here, I was wondering where the hell Scion was, but it turns out they were fighting in the top lane. And in case you didn't look at our team comp, like, yeah, he's going, I think we have a few disconnects as this game plays out. But right here with the Karma separated, the Quinn's a sitting duck. Jinx ran a little too far back, but it doesn't really matter in the long run. You can see that we pick up the Quinn kill for free pretty much, and Right here, I'm just trying to find out, is Skarner coming back? Should I even bother recording the rest of this? But you can see that Karma comes forward. I just go ahead and cash out all my stacks here. Force her to burn some of her spells, which works in our favor because I think hers cost more than mine. And like I said, I just have more regen. So all in all, the Jinx is actually pretty good with being able to shoot while moving back. That may not seem like a big thing in the grand scheme of things, it's too often these days when I've been running into an AD carry who legitimately struggles doing that. Anyway, right here we get the Sightstone. And I was trying to figure out what regen item do I want. I forget to swap out my trinket, but I'll get that later. I was trying to weigh the advantages and disadvantages of each one. The advantage to the Morgana is just that it would cut into Fiddle's sustain. Technically, the sustain Karma could get from her W, since it gets a better return the lower she is. It makes it a little bit easier for you to proc the Grievous Wounds. And then there's also Quinn's lifesteal, but like I said, the Quinn's not going to amount to anything. So right here, Skarner has returned. You can see the villain mark on Quinn, which I think this is the only time all game that's going to be there. Right here we get to zone her off since Karma went back. Goodbye. So right here, Scion tries to warp in. I don't know if Garen stopped him or realized, okay, the AD carry just died. No summoner spells were burned. Maybe I should not go in. The Scion is definitely going to be a problem this game since he's infinite scaling, and he can be tanky enough to even give hyper carries a bit of trouble. Right there, the Inner Flame completely whiffed. And right here I put the black shield on Jinx so we can try to turn this around. And bye-bye. To make things worse, there's just no hope for poor Fiddle. So that's pretty devastating when the jungler dies like that. And to make things worse, Jinx got both of those. So that's going to weaken some of that mid-game fall in power that she has while she's between items and various level points. And, well, it's just going to be rougher on Quinn now that she's even further ahead. What I ultimately settle on, though, is the, crowd, what's the Crucible's name? It's the Crucible. I don't remember the name that goes in front of it, but I go for the Crucible here for the Fiddlestick Sphere, that way in case he goes on someone that before I can Black Shield, or someone that I did not Black Shield, like the move's on cooldown because I used it already, I can then cleanse someone out of the fear. It'll also come in handy since Ahri does have a charm, which is very devastating late game, as well as potential Karma Tether. Yeah, Garen just gets destroyed. Kinda like this Quinn. So right there you can see what I mean by we set one another up. And as long as we layer stuff like that, it's just feast off Quinn in time. So with her dead, she's denied the EXP and the gold that's normally found here. And, well, we just get to take out our frustration on the tower. Basically some sweet cathartic payback for me since the Quinn single-handedly cost me the game before this. And, well, for the poor fools that got stuck with her again, that's their problem. So right here I was wondering, should we try to bait in Fiddlesticks? With the Black Shield we might be able to do it. Jinx has a little bit of lifesteal to potentially get some health back, it's just not a lot. But ultimately we just push that in the tower and decide to bounce.
I'll have my revenge.
Now right here I don't exactly have a great amount of gold, I don't think. Well, let's see, I can't make out the exact number, but yeah, I don't have enough for the Seekers. But I can wait a little while, and just like that I can get it. I can swap out my trinket. Now, ideally, I would have liked to get boots on that back as well, like tier 2. The main reason for that, in case you're wondering, is just so I can keep up with the speeding Quinn when she's in her Valor form. Jinx went for a Bloodthirster first. I didn't actually notice that while playing. Right. So yeah, we have a big sustained advantage on them. Now right here I was expecting a little bit more of a follow-up, but I still managed to block the blind, so Jinx is free to farm this without being denied anything. Here's probably when I actually noticed it, since she had that shield, but... That was top. Yeah, top that went down. So the Garen is just pretty much here for the ride, sadly. The one thing that he does bring that's very handy is the silence, since he can interrupt Ahri's combo, or potentially even Quinn. Like right there, you got to see us pile in on the Quinn, and that's kind of all you can say to summarize that. So right here, Fiddles did fear Skarner. Unfortunately, it was one of those weird instances where the spells have awkward interaction. As a result, Fiddle still got suppressed, but he got carried away by the very arachnid fear. Now, with the bottom tower gone, as well as that one fight, they have no jungler themselves, no AD carry. That's pretty much guaranteed dragon for us, which we're more than happy to take. Now, I was wondering, should we go back here just to kind of regroup in the base, decide do we want to go mid, etc., stuff like that. But Jinx wants to push out a bit more, which I'm not opposed to, since I can generate some gold here and there, which will push me closer to getting my Zonias. Now, one thing that I don't like about this build is that there actually is a bit of an abundance of active items. Like right there, you can see the vault fails. I will have the, yeah, right here, I don't remember if I get the movement or not, but you can see that we forced them to come to us in mass. They had to send all 5 bot to deal with us, which is something that should be setting off all sorts of alarms. When a Jinx is this strong this early, it's usually curtains for the team. But anyway, I opt to go for the Sorcerer's Shoes because I'm the one who needs to deal with Scion. A bit disappointing, you might say, but that's the way the game plays out. You can see from the way Annie is building, she will interrupt Fiddle's sustain with her Merlinomicon. The bad news is she just doesn't really have a way to deal with Ahri. And right there, poor Skarner got ambushed. Good news for him is that Jinx was handy to bail him out. Bad news is then they just turn on Jinx. Then the bad news for them is that we loop around to really ruin their day. And right here you can get a little bit of a context on how tanky Scion is exactly. We pretty much do have to rely on magic damage to kill him, as you can see from his build. I didn't get anything up here. It sucked. As for Quinn, she's just in a really bad spot. And now I have the red buff. Would be much better on Jinx, yes, it's just I can make use of it, as you'll see. For a second there, I thought this is when... Well, you'll see in a moment. So right here, Garen joined us for the little assault, and it's kind of all he can do. A little sad, but I haven't played him since his nerf. I didn't really get into the whole Garen train once his rework came through, but some people love him. I don't know.
Feel my pain.
So if you remember, I have the red buff. So if Fiddle gets close enough, I can just go ahead and apply the slow, and then it gets a tad rough to beat him. Like right here, I'm using the slow on the Scuttle Trap. It's also contributing to some DPS as well. Right here, Karma is now slowed with the red buff, as well as anything else that my team throws at them. So right here I did the flash ult, and then I'm trying to auto-attack them as I go, because that way I can keep the slow going. It's harder for them to break the tether, and a lot easier for me to, in turn, get the ult to completion. But you can see once it was all said and done, we got 3 kills, and all in all, I'd say that was definitely worth my flash. As for Sion, he's just way too damn tanky. So right here I want to auto-attack him to apply the slow, so that way it's harder for him to keep up with us. Just makes it easier for us to kite him. And by extension, he will die through his passive without actually accomplishing anything. So with all the kills I picked up there, you can see that I had more than enough to get my Zonias. And right here I'm trying to figure out what item do I want next. And I'm thinking, well, Sion's really tanky, he's stacking armor, he pretty much has infinite amounts of hit points as the game goes on. I need an item that does magic damage, with a little bit of penetration on the side that will ideally deal percent HP damage. As you may have guessed, I'm going for Liandry's Torment. So I don't remember in this game if I actually did end up dealing the most damage on my team as well, but I just ruined Sion's day. It's that simple. Whenever we get into a skirmish, all I have to do is just hit him with one of my spells and watch the damage over time shred his massive amounts of hit points. And all things considered, I think the actual best counter to the Liandry's these days is probably the Warmogs, because of the amount of regen you get from it. It's percentage based, so it kind of offsets the damage of the Liandry's. Thing is, you just need to clear that minimum threshold. If you can't clear that, then yeah, the Warmogs is absolutely worthless to you. Plus, the Warmogs is best, of course, when you get defensive stats from other sources, so that those HP you get means something. Anyway, I went ahead and pushed out some of the top. That gave me a little bit of EXP. And like, one of the things that comes up for the whole support Morgana debate is, what do you max second, W or E? E generally does give you more utility, it's just, I like the W to try to set up kills, it's more aggressive. And that's pretty much any source of debate. It's just, do you want to be more aggressive or more utility based? Anyway, you can see we have them on the loop, so once again we cut another free dragon. Right here I'm just dropping that to Zone Sion. He had to have ulted in order to get to us in time, but instead we forced him to use his ult to escape. Sadly, that did cost Skarner his ult, because the suppressions in the game and taunts are kind of messed up. Been that way for years, and no real sign of them changing. So right here, even though Fiddle feared me, I still got the Q and my W up underneath him. And it just sucks to be him. I mean, we didn't get to inflict grievous wounds, yes, but we still killed him, which is that's what's there. As for right here, there was pretty much nothing I could do to deal with Ari. So my best course of action was just try to keep her out of the fight, using my Dark Binding. You can see I still get the assist since Annie gets the pick off, and that sets her a little bit further back, and we are in position to siege this bottom tower. So right there I have the Haunting Guys now for a little bit more HP, a little bit of magic penetration, and the small amounts of AP I have from sources here and there become much, much more effective. Like, since I'm not an AP Morgana, there's no reason for me to go for a Void Staff. And I think that was a tad greedy on Jinx, since if she hadn't done that, it would have been possible to take the top tower, or bottom tower. It's just, when she went down, any hopes of us getting anything down there went with her.
Without mercy.
So, we're 10 minutes left in the game. And there's the guy who's going to be giving us trouble.
Do not dally.
So ideally I want to try to deny him as much as I can in terms of minions, simply because we have to keep his HP in check. If he does get really, really beefy, then it takes even longer for the Liandry's to actually burn through him, since MR does mitigate some of the damage dealt through the percentage. Good news is there isn't actually a cap on champion damage, but I don't know how long that'll last. Actually putting a cap on that would definitely buff Warmogs, Deadman's Plate, and a few others like that, so just don't see that happening.
I'll have my revenge.
Right there you can see the villain mark on Karma. And she has to use her ult just to try to keep the tower alive. So right there I couldn't figure out who do I need to Black Shield? Who is Fiddle going on? Those were the big questions I was trying to figure out, and you can see that I didn't really reach any answer, at least not very satisfactory. The important thing is, Ari stepped out of line, she died, Fiddle trumped in trying to be a hero, he died. Quinn got caught with the Skarner ult, she died, and in the end, Scion's the last man standing. And ideally, we are best off ignoring him, to be honest. Just try to get some damage down on the tower. The global gold will help the team much more in the long run. And, well, you can see that the lane was kind of pushing our way in the first place, so if we had been able to get it down right there, it would have worked to our advantage. But instead, I figure I'm just going to go ahead and push this in, because if I don't, Scion will. You can see that this tower's on its last legs anyway. There's not really much I can do to stop him from taking it. The good news is I now have the Leandries, so for the final 7.5 minutes of the game, I can work on making the undead Juggernaut a little bit more miserable. As if being dead in the first place wasn't bad enough. You can see that Garen's not going to have the chance to do anything this game. Little sad but true, I guess. But one advantage for putting points in the tormented soil is that you can kind of clear waves like this. Normally as a support you don't want to do it, it's just Jinx is AFK right now, so she can't do it herself. And it's better for me to get this than just let it actually go to waste into the tower.
Without mercy.
But right here you can see that my team is starting to push up, which is not necessarily good when I'm down bot and Jinx is AFK.
I'll have my revenge.
So right here we're just trying to, well, what I'm trying to do is damage control. And right there you get to see the damage rack up on Scion. Right there I body blocked his ult to try to help Annie get to safety. Yeah, I'm not used to seeing that skin. But with Annie getting to safety, it's... Well, right here you get to see Scion just get a little melted by the Leandry's Torment. So, to explain real quick, his shield scales off of his HP, and normally while that would be a really bad thing, the flip side is that the Leandry is actually really good at dealing with his shield. It will protect him for a certain amount of time, yes, but the shield is really important for his burst. And by forcing him to use that exclusively defensively, he is much worse off in the long run as a result. Anyway, so Scion goes down, we lose Skarner as a result. Fiddle is here, but he's not that scary. You can see that Jinx has returned. Right there, use the Black Shield to pretty much doom the poor Scarecrow. So right here I was kind of hoping to call Jinx down to the dragon. We grab this, that'll be number 3 for us, and in turn we will get enhanced movement speed to better escape Scion during his passive. If you guys believe me, we will be proccing that a few more times yet. So in the event that they did try to attack us, it would not work out very well for them. The Jinx is really fed, and if I land my Dark Binding, whoever gets caught is just dead. There's no hope for them. You've seen in the previous fight over here, I caught Ari with it, she died. And Scion's the only one who has a chance to resist it, but that he just dropped the Tormented Soil. Since his movement is restricted through the bind, he will take double HP damage, and even he won't. So you can see right there, Ari got caught by the Dark Binding. Down she goes. In comes Fiddle, and right here I was so worried about Jinx that I forgot to use my Zonias entirely. But don't get me wrong, we still had complete control over that fight. As you can see, I picked off Fiddles with my Dark Binding. Sadly, Jinx does miss her rocket, but there's just no way for Scion to keep up with her. Dragon number 3 plus the resets will get jinxed. Poor guy has no hope. So, when it's all said and done, Karma's the only one who can stand against us. Right there I put up the black shield because I honestly didn't care, just trying to dodge. I was kind of hoping I might be able to bait her in, thinking, okay, Karma's low, no shield, maybe I can pick her off at the cost of my life, but no, she didn't buy it. Had she actually aggressed, I could just pop Zonias and she would have died. So right here I'm trying to help Annie get this. I can't afford to tank it for her, but I could try to set it up so that it can't really attack her for a few seconds. In the end it didn't really matter since we're both going back anyway, I think. But right here I go ahead and help myself to the Mikhail's Crucible, that's what it's called. And I go for the Ruby Sightstone right now just for the sheer hit points of it. It's a bonus, something like 250 hit points, which may not seem like a lot, but it definitely can make a difference, especially if I'm not going to Black Shield myself because I'm trying to protect an ally or I'm trying to use the Crucible on an ally. You can see right here I'm now sitting at 3 active items plus Trinket. The Frost Queen would have been 4, which thankfully I don't get. I don't know why they give support so many damn actives. One thing that I could have built was the Zeke's Herald for Jinx. Do the whole hyper carry thing. She can use it fairly well. It's just, due to the way this was playing out, I didn't think it was necessary. Scion stacking armor pretty much means she's going to have limits on dealing with him, and it'd be best to leave Scion to me so I can just burn through him.
I'll have my revenge.
So right here I'm just trying to zone while Jinx last hits. Nothing really fancy to be found yet. But with 1.5 minutes left in the game, you can guess the final fight is coming. So right here we steal the red buff. Scion uses Zap. Right here we just pile everything we have onto him. Somehow I got the kill, I'm not arguing, but I think I get a triple here. Watch Quinn swoop in, only to find herself bound up in this. So that's 2. Sadly, enough time elapsed that wasn't a double kill. But for my next victim, I choose the Scarecrow. That should have been a triple. And right here I was wondering, would it be possible for me to get a Penta, but Skarner went ahead and picked off Karma. So, no Penta for me. Now we have options. We could go for Baron, or just try to end it. It would be a tad close normally to end it just yet because the death timers aren't long enough. It's just Jinx is actually that fed that we can end it about 2 minutes earlier than we normally need to. But that's Morgana support for you guys. Poor Scion. But anyway, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed.